Hello everyone, I'm Frank and welcome to Frank Puzzles, and this is today's easy level puzzle. And take that easiness with a grain of salt because it's considered easy by the people on the Logic Masters Germany forum, and there's a lot of really smart people there. Anyway, today's puzzle is called 1319 by Riff Clown, and here are the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply, which means place the digits 1 through 9 in each row, column, and box without repetition. You can eventually get a box here. This is a box, okay. Duality. External clues, so clues outside the grid, are both normal X sum and little killer clues in both directions. Little killer. Clues outside the grid with an arrow are the sum of the digits in the cells along the indicated diagonals. So specifically for 19, it would be this diagonal and this diagonal. For the 13s, it would be this diagonal of 5 cells and this diagonal of 3 cells. And this one would be diagonal of 2 cells and then diagonal of 3 cells. Or sorry, 6 cells. And that's how little killer clues work. And since this is duality, it's both of the arrow directions. X sums. Oh, here's a small note. Digits may repeat along these diagonals if allowed by other rules. So that's usually understood in little killer clues, but yeah. X sums. A number outside the grid gives the sum of the first n digits in that row or column, where n is a digit in the cell closest to the given clue. So basically, this 13 and this 13 and this 19 also acts as an X sum clue. And that's part of the duality. And basically, for example, if this were, say, a 4, that would mean the first 4 digits must add up to the clue that's outside the grid, which would, in this case, would be a 19. You could also have something like a 3 here, right? There's a 3 here, or a 5 here. If this were 3, that would mean the first 3 digits add up to 19. And if it were the 5, then it would mean that the first 5 digits add up to 19. And that's how X sums work. And those are all the rules. If you'd like to play along, there's going to be a link in the description. And now, I'm going to get started. Let's go. Okay. First things first then. These 6 digits add up to 13. So it must be a combination of 1, 2, and 3, or 1, 2, and 4, right? You can only have, the minimum would be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, which is 12. Which means we only have one digit we can increase by 1. Well, the only digit that could be increased by 1 that doesn't duplicate is 3, right? So 3 has to go up to 4 once, and only once. We know this can't be 1 or 2, and this can't be 1 or 2. Therefore, this must be 3 or 4, and this must be 3 or 4. One of them's 3, and one of them's 4, and they cannot be the same, right? Because one of them has to be 1, 2, 3 in one box, and the other one has to be 1, 2, 4 in the other box to add up to 13. So this is a 1 or 2, and this is a 1 or 2, and this is 1 or 2, and this is 1 or 2. And we know this is 3 or 4. We're not sure which, though. So whichever one this is, we'll make this green. This one has to be the opposite, so this is orange. We also know these 2 digits add up to 13, so it's 4, 9. So then that would be 4, and this would be 9. It could be 5, 8, or 6, 7. 19, we don't have very much limiting power. This is interesting because this is at minimum here. It cannot contain a 1 or 2 because we know we have a 1, 2, 1, 2 pair already in box 2, which eliminates 1 and 2 from the rest of the box. So this cannot be 1 or 2. So this is at minimum 3 and 5. So that would this would be 3 and this would be 5 if that were the case. This would be 8 then. This is at minimum 2, so this is minimum 10, and this is minimum 1 and 2. Well, Because we know this is a minimum and it adds up to 13, it must be the exact digits that the minimum requires. Therefore, this is a 2, because it can't be 1. This must be a 1. This must be a 2. This must be a 3, and this must be a 5. That adds up to 13 here. This can no longer be 3, so this is a 4, which makes this a 3. This can't be 2 here, so this is 1, which makes that a 2. This can't be 2 here, so this is 1, which makes that a 2. So we can remove the coloring now. This adds up to 13, and so therefore these two add up to 9, because the 4 subtracted from 13 is 9. So it's either 1, 8, so this could be 1 and 8. It could be 2 and 7, or it could be 3 and 6. But it cannot be 4 and 5, because we already have a 4 there. This, what's the minimum here? We know this can't be 1 or 2. That's interesting. 1 has to be one of these two numbers. Excuse me. I just swallowed really weirdly. Anyways, what's the minimum value here? It would have to be 3 and 5, right? Because 2 is ruled out by these 2's. This can't be 1 because of that 1 and this 1. Therefore, this is at minimum 3 and 5. This is at minimum 3, and this is at minimum 1. So that adds up to 12, but that's a lot of degrees of freedom here. This is at least 1 and 4. So again, the minimum here would be 8. And when I say degrees of freedom, it's usually, particularly in little killer clues, where I basically, because the thing is you can have multiple of the same digit in these diagonals, right? Because of that, it's not easy to eliminate possibilities unless you go by something that restricts things, right? And I usually like to call them degrees of freedom along when you could have different, you could have the same digit be on the diagonal, right? So this is at least 4. What's the most this could be? This is at most, I guess it's 8 and 9 here. So that's 17, 19, and then you have the full 9 here. So that's 9 degrees of freedom that way. Down. This has to be 7, 8, or 9. This is 7, 8, or 9. This x sum has to be either 3 or 4. It cannot be more, right? If you have a 5, that would mean the first 5 digits must add up to 13, but that's impossible because if you have 5 unique digits, 1 through 5, that adds up to 15 at minimum. So it can never get down to 13. So this is 3 or 4. Similarly, actually, this has to be 3 or 4 also. And if it's 4 to add up to 13, it would have to be 1, 3, 4, and 5. That's possible, I guess. So we know this is 3 or 4. We don't know what this is, though. So adding these up, there's no 2 involved. If it's 4, let's say it's 3, right? Then you have to have 3 digits adding up to 3. So it would have to be 3, 4, and 6 exactly, because it can't be 1 and 2 involved. So it can't be 3, 1, 9, cannot be 3, 2, 8. Can't be 3, 3, 7, obviously, because there's multiple 3s. But it could be 3, 4, and 6. So this would be 3, 6, and 4 if this is 3. If this is 4, you have 4 digits adding up to 13 without a 2. So it would have to be 4, 3, 5, and 1. And this can't be 1 here, so this would be then a 1 here. This would then be 3 or 5 with the 1. So 1 could be here. Either way, we know the 4 has to be one of these two cells because it's either 3, 6, 4, or it's 4, 3, 5, and 1 to add up to 13. Similarly, if this were 3 here, it could be 4 and 6, but it also, in this case, could be 2 and 8, right? It cannot be 1, 9 because the 1 is eliminated. So it could be 3, 4, 8. Sorry, 3, 4, 6, or 3, 2, 8. In which case that's 2, this is 8. If this is 4, it could be 13. 1, 3, 4, 5. So it could be, this would be 3. This would be 4. Sorry, this would be 4. This would have to be 5 then. This would be 3, and this would be 1 if that's the case. But that can't be 1. So it can't be 1, 3, 4, 5. It has to then be... This can't contain a 1 if this says 4. Then that would be 2, 3, 4, 5 minimum, which is not allowed. So therefore, this is a 3. So this is 3, which means this can't be 3. Therefore, this can't be 6. This is 3 with 2, 8, or it's 4, 6. We're not sure. We tried it with a 4, but there's no 1 involved here because of all the 1s. Oh, okay, where is the 1 in box 3? It can only be here because of where these 1s are placed. 1 has to be one of these two cells. We're not sure which. And it could be any of these 4. So one thing is this can never be 10 because we know these two digits must add up to 10 because 3 plus whatever these two digits are must add up to 13. Therefore, this is 10, which is 13 minus 3. Therefore, this can never be 10. So if this can never be 10, this can never be 7. But that still leaves a lot of possibilities. 2 through 9 here. We eliminated 3 here, so this can't be 6. What else do we have here? Oh, this is an X sum. And it cannot be 4, 5, or 6 because those are already eliminated from the column, so it has to be 3. Therefore, this is 3, and the remaining digits are what? So this can't be 3 anymore, which means this can't be 6. It has to be 3, 7, and 9, right? Because 19 minus 3 is 16, and 2 digits adding up to 19 must be 7 and 9. Therefore, we have a 7, 9, 7, 9 pair in column 5, which eliminates 7 and 9 from the rest of the column. The remaining cells must be 1, 2, and 8. Well, where can the 1 be? Can't be any of these cells, therefore this must be here. So this is 1, which means this can no longer be a 4 X sum, right? Because you need a 1 or 2, you need a 1 specifically to be with this X sum if it's 4. So this cannot be 4, this must be 3, which makes this 3, 6, and 4 specifically. And this cannot be 2 and 8 because that would eliminate all possibilities for that cell. So this has to be 4 and 6. This can no longer be 4, 9, or 6, 7. It has to be 5 and 8 to add up to 13. This can't be 3 or 9 anymore. This has to be 2 and 8, but this can't be 2. Therefore, this is 8, which makes this a 2. This is 1 or 7. This is 2 or 8. Let's see. This adds up. The remaining cells here have to be 2, 7, and 9. Right? And this can't be 2. So this is 7, 9, 7, 9. What is the sum of these? This could be 2, at minimum, 2, 4, and 2. Well, it can't be that, because so if this is 2... Can this ever be 2, essentially? Well, if we add up the maximum, otherwise, this would be 2, 6, 2, and 8, which would be 18. That's the maximum if this is a 2, which means this can never be a 2 because it can't get to the 19 value that it needs to be. Therefore, this is not 2, which means this has to be a 2. So this can't be 2 anymore. What's the possibility adding up to 19 here? Not sure. Can this ever be 4? If this is 4, it could be. 4 and 6 add up to 10. Okay. Actually, the easier way probably is these are both even. This is an odd value. To get another odd value, all the rest of the cells must be even. So this can never be 5. This has to be 4, 6, or 8. If you have an 8 with a 4, the problem is... Yeah, if you have an 8 with a 4, that doesn't work, right? Because this is 12, this is 14, this is at minimum a 7, so that would be 21, which is minimum, which is not allowed. So this can never be 8. It could be 4 and 4, and that's 9. So that would add up to 19. It could be 4 and 6, and that's 7, so that's fine. So this is 4 and 6 also. 1 has to be one of these two cells. We're not sure which. Can this ever be 1? Yeah, that could be 1. Okay, what's the remaining cells here? Well, actually, let's go for the remaining cells here, specifically. It cannot be 1, it cannot be 2, it can't be 4, it can't be 7 or 9 because of the 7-9 pair in the row, which eliminates 7-9 from the rest of the row. So this could be 3, could be 5, it could be 6 or 8. Right? No 1, no 2, no 4, no 7 or 9. Yep. This cannot be 1, 2, 3, or 4. It could be 5, 7, 8, 9. Okay. And this could be a lot of things also. 1, 4. It cannot be 7 or 9, though. So it could be 1, no 2, 3, 5. It could be 1, 4, 6, or 8. Interesting. Four has to be one of these two remaining cells. Hmm. Hmm. Let's see. Where can 3 be actually in box 7? It can't be any of these cells, so it must be here. So this is a 3. Okay, that actually helps us a lot. These 3's add up to 6, and this diagonal adds up to 19. 19 minus 6 is 13, so these two digits must add up to 13. Therefore, this can never be 1, which means this has to be a 1, which means this cannot be 1. So this has to be 1. This has to be 8. So we now have these two adding up to 13. So 4, 9 works, 6, 7 works, and 8, 5 works. So this can never be 8. But we already knew that. This can't be 2. Where is the 2 now in row 7? Can't be here because of this 2. It must be here. So this is a 2. This has to be 5, 7, or 9. One of these is 5. This can't be 2 anymore. Where's the remaining 2 in box 7? It has to be here. This then has to be 6 with 7 or 9. Therefore, and this can't be 6. Therefore, this must be a 6, which means neither of these can be 6. This must be a 4. This can't be 4 or 6, so this must be 8, which forces this to be 5 to add up to 19, which it now does. This can't be 5. This is 7 or 9. This is 7 or 9. The remaining cells here have to be 6 with 5 and 8. But neither of these can be 8. This can't be 8 anymore, so this is a 5, which makes that 8. So we have a 5, 6, 5, 6 pair, but this can't be 5, so this is 6, which makes that a 5. Okay, so I think we've used up all the... Yeah, we've used up all the little killer clues and the X-sum clues. So those are all already taken care of. So now it's basically just normal Sudoku. 5 cannot be here, 5 can't be here. Where's the 5 in box 4? It must be here. The remaining cells are 6 through 9. This can't be 6 or 8, so this is 7, 9. We have a 7, 9, 7, 9 pair in column 3, which eliminates 7 and 9 from the rest of the column. So it must be 6 and 8 here. This has to be what? This can't be 8. Where is the 8 in box 4? It has to be here. So this is 8. This then has to be 7 or 9 also. We have a 7, 9, 7, 9 pair in row 4, which eliminates 7 and 9 from the rest of the row. This can't be 4, so 4 has to be one of these two. We're missing also a 3, but 3 can't be here. Where is the 3 in row 4? It must be here. And therefore, this must be a 4, 6 pair. Yep, 4, 6. This can't be 8. The remaining cells possible in column 4 have to be 7 or 9 with a 4. And this can't be 4, therefore this must be 4. This has to be a 7 or 9. The remaining digits now are 6, 7, and 9. This can't be a 6, so therefore this must be a 7 or 9, so this has to be a 6. This can't be, this must be 7 or 9. This is 7 or 9, and this is 7 or 9. The remaining cells here are 4, 5 with 7 and 9. Right? Obviously, well, let's remove the outer stuff. This can't be 4, and this can't be 5. How about these digits? It has to be 3, 7, and 9. And they can be either one there. This specifically has to be 5 and 8, and this can't be 5, so this must be 8, which makes this 5. We now have all the digits here, except that there's 7 and 9, so therefore this is a 7, 9 pair. We now have a 7, 9, 7, 9 pair in row 3, which eliminates 7 and 9 from the rest of the row. Therefore, this is a 3, which means this can't be 3. This also cannot be 7 or 9, so this is 4 or 5. Well, we also have a 7, 9, 7, 9 pair now in row 1, which eliminates all the 7 and 9s from the rest of row 1. So this must be 4. This has to be 8, which makes that a 6. That makes that an 8. This can no longer be 8. This can't be 4, so this is a 5, which means this can't be 5, so it's 7 or 9 here. We have a 7, 9, 7, 9 pair in row 3, which eliminates 7 and 9 again. So the rest of the column, the rest of the row is 4, 8. This can't be an 8, therefore it makes that a 4, which makes that an 8. That 4 means this is a 6, which makes that a 4, which makes that a 6, which makes that a 4. Now we have the remaining cells. This has to be a 3. The remaining cells here are 5 and 6, but this can't be 6, so this is 5, which makes that a 6. And now we just, I guess it's not completely Sudoku. This is the only point where we need the little killer clue. Right now it adds up to 2, 4, and 6, which is 12. 19 minus 12 is 7. So this is a 7, which now gives us the rest of the puzzle. So this is 9, 7, 9. This has to be 9, 7, 9, which makes that 7, which makes that 9, 7, 9, 7, 9, 7, 9, 7. This is 9, and that's a 7. And that's how you solve it. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Nothing too fancy in the way that it works. It's basically just knowing what's restricted and how to restrict them. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this solve, and I'll see you next time on Frank Puzzles. Take care.